Hey everyone, welcome back to Play Casket with another episode of Casket Talk with your hosts, Paraka the Goblin and
Ghost, your co-host.
And this week we're going to go ahead and we haven't really done one of these for a while, so we decided to kind of go back and check out and lift the old crusty veil of mobile gaming and notice that some really bad shit's actually going down.
Episode 53, Mad on Mobile 2, Stagnant Boogaloo.
Yep, we decided to kind of just look at some mobile games. Just recently, we mentioned it a couple times in our Your Turns that, was it Destiny Child or something like that you used to play?
Yeah, Destiny Child's dead.
So it's officially dead. Dragalia Lost has died a while back, a couple years back, and I've been kind of on a hunt for like just mobile games periodically, nothing too crazy. And I never really paid too much attention to it. But it wasn't until recently when people were talking about just mobile gaming in general, about like the new games that are coming out, and people were making fun of the fact that like they're basically the same thing again. And I decided to kind of really take a look at it. Like I just look at stuff, see if there was anything interesting in the little thumbnail, and if it doesn't catch my eye, if the style doesn't look good, or like it uses the same stereotypical screaming emote, play my game, I would at least check it out. And I looked, and I started noticing weird patterns, man. Just recently, there's a whole, like, the top, like, demanded and the top most registered and like recommended for you, and don't forget these upcoming games and all these hype lists that like the Google Play Store has, right? It doesn't have as many like new names on there, and the ones that are new names are actually just ones from similar developers. Yeah. Sometimes even the same developers like hyping up 3 games at the same time.
Well, it's either the algorithm's really good or they're running out of shit to bring out, I guess.
Well, the top list ones and stuff, like, it could be the algorithm and triggering these lists and stuff, but the lists are unanimous across the board. Mm-hmm. It isn't just, these are recommended for you. Because there will be ones that are recommended for me sometimes, like Weird Solitaire and stuff. Like, I don't play cards, bro. But these lists are the ones that are just like, it's a collective hodgepodge of all the millions, billions, cajillions people's playing on, the little site thing that they have, mm-hmm. right? And then just surfing and download whatever games and have you and all that. And that's at least telling a little bit about who's surviving. And I decided to kind of do some searching. And some of the companies that I used to actually play some games on, they're either completely dead or in some kind of skeletal crew mode, or they're now kind of latched onto like licensed games because their original ideas were garbage.
Yeah. Or
not garbage, but like sold like garbage. And I'm noticing a pattern with that with a lot of these mobile companies now, like Gameloft. I think the people who made the game Soul Guard, it escapes me right now. Snowprint Games. That's what it is. Snowprint Games. As soon as I said that, Snowprint Games has a game that's called Riven Guard, and there's one called Snow Guard. But Riven Guard is this tactic game that was fun. I kind of liked the mechanics in the game and stuff. It was straightforward, but it was not getting any updates. It was like basically dead in the water. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. Now they're the ones that are doing that Warhammer Tacticus game that you see all over like YouTube and stuff like that. They're the ones in charge of that, and it's the same gameplay. And several of the early characters that they released literally was basically the game characters that they made for themselves. And ever since that popularity, they just kind of put the game on kind of like a, like, what do you call it? Purgatory. It's just kind of there. It's not dead. It's not alive. It's not getting revisited. It's just going to sit there in this limbo. And that's the end of it, right? Mm. And it's a pattern. It's a pattern that I've seen. Like, have you seen a couple of those when you were Googling around and seeing if there was anything that was more exciting and see if there's anything that can fill that hole for Destiny Child?
Not really. Well, like, I've been looking for a new game, and maybe it was just like stuck in my algorithm because I grabbed a couple of AFK games, and then it's all nothing but AFK games. Or
Dude,
if
like,
I
that's
like,
another thing too.
it would just fill up the algorithm with like AFK games, and then or like these auto RPGs. I want something like a good action game that you could actually play as well too, instead of just like telling it to do auto. And then like Diablo clones came up, and then it's nothing but those, or nothing but MMO clones
or MOBA clones.
Yeah, so it's like it's very limited on what to feed you now, because I think it really is just like the top.
Yeah, like even with your algorithm, like, hey, I'm interested in new stuff. It'll be like, no, you're interested in the shit that I'm going to tell you you're interested in.
The really well-selling ones, yeah.
The well-selling ones are the publishers that are known to pay Google extra money or Apple extra money or what have you for it.
Even TapTap. I forgot about that. TapTap is because TapTap is like this Asian version of
it's like
the
Southeastern Asian, yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
it's basically kind of like a weird gamer, like mobile gamers VPN, basically.
Yeah,
like you just log on out with TapTap and it'll be able to get you some other games and stuff too.
Yeah, and you get to like really obscure stuff too. But even looking at that, it's like this is the same stuff from Android and iOS.
Yeah,
has like the top 10 lists. And it's like, well, these are all the same shit you get in America. Like it's all becoming into this weird giant blob of homogeneity.
And it's all the same stuff too. It is like constantly the same stuff. Like, and even what was it? I think it's Arena of Valor. It was like a Chinese MOBA game. It was like huge. People like, join us because it's the most successful mobile MOBA game ever. And it was like even China was so popular that it had its own dedicated servers, so it didn't get impeded on by other people and all this. It's still closing Chinese servers down. This thing that used to be a titan in the ring is dead. And like, I look at all these other ones that are supposedly like popular MOBA games. Even the mobile version of League of Legends, which is Wild Rift, it's more of a collectathon than an RPG-ish type thing than League of Legends is. Granted, I think Wild Rift is also made with control support in mind, so we'll probably actually see it get ported over to the PlayStations and stuff like that. So I think the reason why it's sticking around is not only by name, is because it's going to be more accessible. It's going to be like their MOBA version for consoles, basically. It's like built from the ground up with that type of mentality. But outside that, every other MOBA game that has ever really tried to conquer League of Legends and all that for mobile, they're all dead. Like there's still some new ones that came up and they're the new hip thing, but they're gonna die too. They're like I visited one of them and it took it 5 minutes and it still gave us 3 bots.
Oh, wow.
And I was out of the tutorial mode and stuff like that, right? And then you look at it, you see a lot of the patterns of the same stuff is like this super, and I mean, like, when I say super, like it's super Korean. And when I say that, like this style, it's like that weird plastic porcelain doll shaped faces, type Princess Peach like lips, and they all have the big doll eyes, but they're all like the same, and they're all like almost emotionless because they don't have any other facial structure to make anything.
They're wearing tight pants with sneakers. They have a really tiny jacket and they have headphones. That's what it's like.
and they're all like, and they're doing the dancing like whoosh wah whoosh woo whoa. I am da 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 da. And like some of them will have English and it is just cringe. Other ones will not, and it still sounds cringe. But like, it's all of those MOBAs, and they all look the same. Like, literally, if you take one character and just dropped it into the other one and just flipped them around a bit, you would have never guessed. Like, oh, I guess that one's what have you lines of whatever. You know, it's the same crap, right? Yeah. And like we've talked about it before, the reason why we don't really play maybe mobile games is like they're all either AFK like RPGs, which is boring as shit. Like, if you want to play a mobile game, you want to play a game. You don't want to just
autoplay, MMO, puzzle, AFK, and shooting game.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah. And then the biggest problem I've noticed with like a lot of the AFK games, RPG does the auto plays and stuff too. Your main goal is to collect really cool characters you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they start having stricter like battle passes. They have stricter crossover events. They have like things that go, oh, this event, this only lasts 3 days. You better hurry and play all your energy all the time, and then spend more money for energy, and you might get this super rare character.
Yeah,
or just spend $20 on this character.
Events are bullshit too, though, because it's you can never earn the character in the event. So they want you to put money into it. That's always the case.
Yep. And there's times where they give. There was one RPG that like I ran into during our YouTube search and stuff. Mm-hmm. This one guy was pissed off because, and I think Genshin Impact does this too. I believe. Mm-hmm. I don't know entirely. Basically, during that event, you get to play that character. Right? Mm-hmm. Not just some kind of like set of challenges and stuff. You get to play that character, and that character just like carries you through like a good portion of that thing. Like, wow, this guy's gonna be super powerful and stuff. And the dude's amped up. Like, it's not even like it's beyond max level for your character, mm-hmm. for that character. Like, it's super amped up. And then when you buy him, he is weaker than crap, even at max level. So you're like, you get this taste, and it's just like this false advertising and such too. And people are just. I think it's just because everyone's tired of that crap. People are tired of a lot of it.
The thing too is that like it's to get newbies playing, but people who have been playing for years can afford to play because they've stockpiled all their currency. Mm-hmm. But if you get somebody like, oh, I want I want Makima from Chainsaw Man. Well, I just downloaded it just so I could play her. You get 110 roll and then like your welcome rolls, but that's it.
Yeah.
And while somebody who's been playing since day one, I'm like, oh yeah, I rolled 3 of her. I'm good. Like, and then you don't get your rolls, and you're like, oh, fuck this, and you would just delete it.
Yeah.
So
well, even on top of that, they even like make it so small now that like it's even rough for you to even roll for it. Even if you're just like dumping like coins or premium currencies into this repeatedly, right? And then on top of that, like just as you were saying, like with people who are new and 2 people are veterans, they'll add like once they get to that max level, they're like, guess what? We got a whole new tiered level cake, and everyone starts at 0 again. So you bust your ass for a whole year and a half, only to basically start at 0 the moment you hit that level again. Yeah. You know? And I understand the concept of it. Like you kind of want them to kind of enjoy and like actually play that content. Right?
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing everything at that, like, all right, I'm on top of this one. Now what? You know, I understand it, but at the same time, you as a mobile game, as a live service, you got a tier on top of a tier on top of a tier on top of a tier. If you're around for 4 or 5 years,
yeah.
You got like half a dozen different new currencies added, and you're just trying to grind all of them all the time
because they want
like,
you to keep paying.
You know, and that's exhausting, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are just worn thin. You know?
Well, another thing too is that like you hit a point where the paid for currency becomes useless. So, like in Destiny Child, Destiny Child does a really really good job on it, but you have like your crystals, and then you have like Onyx, which is a different type of currency, but for your characters.
For your like leveling and stuff.
Yes, but you use your crystals to roll. Well, eventually you'll get so much crystals that you don't need it, and you need Onyx more. So it's like you'll hit that threshold where you're like, I got so much crystal, I need Onyx more, please.
Well, not on top. Not only that, like the premium currency is often used to kind of roll for characters and stuff too. Uh-huh. So even if they add a new character and you kind of spend some of the premium currency, you're like, awesome, I've built up so much, that's all I can do. But my character is fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know, like how am I supposed to even like play with this character? I want to get it max level, but once I bring it up, like I spend all of my other currency that I've been grinding for a year, and now it's at the same new tier that I'm already having trouble getting because it's
That's
so small.
Why you could roll for duplicates.
You know?
But
well, no, I'm just saying, like you'll have enough money of the older currencies that they could just dump enough to pack out to that new tier that just came out.
Yeah.
and it's still just as useless.
Yeah.
Because you still got to grind out the equipment. You probably still got to grind out the skills. You still got to grind, like, you still got to grind out a bunch of that stuff, even if they don't have currency, which is another thing I've noticed. Some things will have currency like XP tomes or whatever that just adds XP to certain things. And then they'll have another currency that's just, for the skill abilities. And then there's stuff that's like, it doesn't have currencies. You actually have to play the game.
I think.
And like, it's just like constantly this whole thing too.
Another thing that drives me insane is, the really cool character, like that on the cover, like the icon character that everybody loves so much, that's super sexy. She's fucking useless.
March 7th. Immediately. No, dude, like I could probably look at every single RPG and you'd be dead on that.
Yeah.
March 7th. I like that character. She is hilarious to like have around. And she was very useful early game because she likes to freeze a lot of stuff and it helps me a lot to try to like mitigate a lot of damage. But once you got 2 gold characters or legendary characters, I don't know how you really call them and stuff, but she's useless. You could probably like max her out and stuff, but she's just she gets overshadowed by quite literally everyone else. Like, and it sucks because and the thing is they're gonna make a premium version of her.
Yeah.
And she's gonna be March 8th. Like, and by the way, I'm saying March 7th is a character in Honkai Star Rail.
Oh,
so
okay.
if for a lot of people are like, why is he this? That's literally her name. And there's a story behind it. I'm not going to spoil it. If you're curious, just Google it and that's on you. But they're going to be like March 8th, and then she's just like super powerful and just overshadows all the people who used to overshadow her. Like it's just it will never not go away. Like hell, Raid Shadow Legends made a joke about that. Like they used to have ads with the Death Knight.
Yeah, I just keep dying every time. I've got the right gear, and my player, he's just amazing. He's really putting the effort in. I'm starting to think maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm worthless.
Worthless? No, we don't use that word in here. Okay, you're a 3-star damage dealer, right? That's his loss. Remember, in this room, we're all champions. Come on, you guys, bring it in. I think Skeleton needs a hug.
Death Knight. My name is Death Knight.
Raid Shadow Legends,
which is literally one of the most common characters you use, and you sacrifice those characters to make XP for everyone else. That's that was the whole gag for a lot of the advertisement campaign of the Death Knight character. Well, after a while, the fans were like, "This is upsetting. Death Knight is actually really cool." Blah, Yeah. And as a style design philosophy, I can see where they're coming from. But they finally made him, and he is ridiculous, dude. Like when they made him, he was basically a tank destroying tank. Like he would melt other tanks, but he himself would just bolster himself. So until you had somebody that had like high crit and armor ignoring, like he would just destroy everyone.
Oh wow.
So it was a constant back and forth of who would counter the next thing and the next thing. It's constant. And he didn't break the meta as much as like Ronda Rousey. And this is me just looking at characters. I'm not even like playing the game that deep to even understand the extreme these characters are sometimes. It was just me looking up this information for variety of different like reviews and stuff like that too. But they made a lot of guest characters like Ronda Rousey so overpowered that you literally have to wait for the next update for anything to counter them.
Oh, okay.
and it's exhausting because if you're trying to play PvP or you're trying to grind out something, she's
you're new.
Melting, Dude, there's people out there that will crush their own rating to a point where they're destroying people in silver. So like I'm like, okay, there's people who probably didn't play long or like haven't played in a long time because there's a lot of older characters in them, and I'm like passing through them when I was playing. Once I hit silver, I was running around to Rousey's that are like maxed out and they're like level 80. I'm like, how do you even have her that much? Like I just unlocked her and she takes forever to level. What is going on? Like this dude's been playing and he's like, I was like, why are you in silver though?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that's going on and stuff too. That's just, I think a lot of people are very just tired. Like, dude, as much as some of the designs out there in some of the games I've played were pretty cool. Like I still like a lot of Dragalia Lost. I liked how Dragalia Lost played. I can respect Raid Shadow Legends style because it's something that stands out in comparison to all the anime bullshit that's out there, right? but it's still, at the end of the day, this grind fest that is just agonizing and boring, right?
Yeah, they want your attention, though.
Yeah.
It's a
and
war of attrition. Because eventually you play for years and years and years and years. You're like, you know what? I really like this company. I'm going to throw in $15. It's like, we got you. We got you.
Well, not even that. Like, like, I don't even, like, feel the need to play it anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. Like, this war of attrition, I think a lot of these mobile companies are losing overall. Now, I think a lot of these big names won't lose over the long period of time, over the lifetime of these games and stuff. But there's going to be a lot of new RPGs that do the same approach, have the same methods, and probably even give you better rewards, and still close. Look at your Destiny Child. Look at Dragalia Lost. Both of them had a lot of plentiful rewards to give you and stuff, and it still was just, they were just like, nope, we're closing it because it doesn't make us money.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the crazy thing about Destiny Child is, like, I think it's also the canary in the coal mine because of how the mobile industry is going, or at the very least, like,
the way it's going now.
The way it's going now, because when you have to cut something out that quick, goes to show, like, yeah, we're bleeding a lot of money. We need to make this revenue back fast right now.
And we gotta stop putting money into something that's not getting us money now.
And then they cut Destiny Child.
Yep.
So
they just cut the ropes and just let it
so
drop.
that's kind of like where I see how mobile games are starting to head, or at the very least, like, certain mobile games will start chopping services like, hey, thanks for 13 years, bye. Like,
yeah, and like basically I could see that happening. And they're like, oh, we should have an award, and a lot of these mobile companies are going to be like, what, a finale event? No, we're not wasting our money on something that you'll play once. Like, they want to be able to just have you grind out that lifestyle for a while, and so like so long events, never going to happen. Like, for most MMOs, they're never going to do that. Most mobile games, they're never going to do that, because why make the one-time event for the last bit of your mobile game so
expensive?
You just might as well just make everything free.
Yeah.
And just, they're like, it's free. That's your event, and call it a day. Because the moment they close servers, all these games are gone, And it ties into the live action stuff, which is a completely different topic, which we'll probably scratch at another time in a not too distant future. But like, once it's done, it's done. And like, a lot of these people who used to play a lot of mobile games, they're exhausted. Dude, I used to play a ton of mobile games. I used to play a plethora of them, right? Mm-hmm. Dude, I can't for the life of me play anything that has an auto play anymore, because that's all they want you to do. They want you to just sit there with your phone and you just tap and then let it play out, and they're like, oh, do you want to play one more round with an ad? And that's where they get a lot of the revenue. You're like, fine, because I'm already not looking at my phone.
Yeah.
Hit it, and you're just messing around with something else, and then you turn around and it just plays that run, and that, like, it's just constant repeat, because people are like, well, technically it's free, so I'm like getting a little extra. Dude, you shouldn't be getting a little extra game time. That's predatory crap. You should just be able to buy your game and play it however long you want.
It just goes to show you don't have time to play games then.
Yeah, that too, dude. That's straight up. That is exactly the situation that's going on. And on top of that, like, there's this big stinking cake that we're just like looking at right now, how mobile's looking at, even most mobile companies, I feel like a lot of them are already looking at what's going on and know that it's not going to be sustainable. Because you're seeing several of these companies reaching out, trying to make new games and turning their games into franchises outside of the mobile world. You're seeing instances like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and Grand Blue Fantasy, I think it's called Relink, something like that. Mm-hmm. 2 Grand Blue Fantasy based off a mobile game. Single player and double player experiences and stuff that you can play even offline locally with your friends, as long as you want, as long as you technically, on a technicality, have access to that game.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to be online. You don't need to have anything else, but you can still enjoy it. And I honestly think, at the end of the day, those 2 games might, if they're good enough, those games will probably overshadow the mobile game market, simply because of how much more accessible it is.
Yeah, I know. Shift Up is doing Stellar Blade as well, but no word on it. So we'll see what happens. Because it was supposedly a PS5 exclusive, but I don't know. She's too sexy. I think they're gonna like either butcher the shit out of her, and then Kim is just like, no, fuck you guys. But
Right.
we'll see what happens though.
Well, probably also like there's another good example too is Azur Lane having that on rails shooting game on the Switch, the PlayStation 4, and I think the Xbox as well. I don't know.
I don't think it's on Xbox. It is on PC though.
Okay, so it's on PC at least too. Well, that I usually try to just assume it is. Like
Okay.
a lot of the games that are on consoles are almost 100% unless it's an exclusive made by the developer themselves.
Yeah.
It's good to assume, But it's a game. Another game that you don't need to be online with, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, there will probably be more people willing to buy it because it's just going to be a game they can play. And then they'll start associating Azur Lane to just games instead of just being mobile, and all mobile games are trash, which fundamentally still mostly true,
Yeah.
And I could see, and even major companies are probably doing a lot of that too. Look at League of Legends doing that Riot Force games and stuff because they know their MOBA market, their multi-online battle arena game of League of Legends is not attracting everyone they possibly can. Like, it's a very well-known franchise, so there's people who are cosplaying as characters they don't even understand.
Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe we're going back to paid games.
Maybe, right?
Because, like, my biggest issue with mobile games is just you're never done paying for shit.
Yeah. And like a lot of people are saying, oh, it's a smart idea because, $8 here, and then suddenly you're paying $70 more. I'm like, dude, you're one of the consumers. You're not making any of these games. Why would you praise that?
Yeah, you could drop $100 and still be dropping
More money.
$8 a month.
Yeah, and
because
there was somebody who
done.
paid on that Diablo mobile game thousands of dollars and then had his account shut down. And that's immediately gone.
Yeah.
Like how am I supposed to back that?
Yeah.
Like that is just, I don't like that. If $1,000 made me just have the physical game in its offline mode, I'd probably consider that.
Yeah.
But it's like stuff like that. I think what's happening to mobile is going to be like a slow collapse. And I'm not saying like a collapse like we are going to witness the death of mobile games. I think we're just going to see the way mobile games are is going to completely crap out on itself. It's a house of cards, but I do not think it's going to be course corrected. I think it's going to get a lot worse. I think they're like, see, maybe if we were just selling games that require online, but we don't have to update it, that's what we should have done.
Apple Arcade.
Basically.
Apple Arcade.
Yeah, or a subscription fee. Imagine Hoyoverse having a Hoyoverse things like you can have access to everything on Genshin Impact, Star Rail, Honkai Impact, and more.
But those
just
are
adding
free.
adding the words and more. You're just like, what? I could have access to other games, and they'll just give you some premium packages and shit too. So you're like, oh, I could wish more often, and there's games that are going to be only through this subscription and stuff. So like Honkai Impact the 4th, they're going to be like, oh, this is only through Hoyoverse's subscription, and they're going to try to pull this crap.
But there's so much more games you could play on. There's thousands of games you could play on Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking nightmare.
No. It's basically Apple saw Game Pass and was like, we can do it too. I still swear. A lot of people are like, man, Game Pass, you're just overblowing it. I'm like, dude, no. They're gonna go to cloud,
Monkey's
and
paw.
a lot of it's a monkey's paw, dude. I'm seeing it from afar away. I'm a goblin. I know my capitalism. I'm seeing it. I'm like, this is gonna be bad, dude. Like you're slowly taking away the control in which the consumer has, which then allows them to make some really shitty decisions. So call me a doomer all you want, but that's a method that I will swear by is going to happen. Like they've already been on record saying that that's something they would want to do.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about Apple is they know how to shift the industry and like steer it in a certain direction. Unless it falls completely flat on its face, Apple will just have money to burn until everybody does it.
Let me ask you this very conspiratorial question: what if they're paid to change it that way? think about it. If a lot of people are always on brand conscious and stuff, right? So, like, stupidly brand conscious. Like, people still want to buy Nikes, and people even have the phrases, gotta have my Nikes, yo. But Nike has, like, some of the shittiest shoes on the damn planet. You know?
Yeah.
But, like, if it's so influential, what if so many other companies are like, hey, why don't you shift it this way? So that way, when we all do it, it doesn't look like it's a change of culture, and we just accept it because how widely everyone's changing at the same time. Because if one person does it, if one company does it, then everyone just like kicks it in the groin and like craps on it, right? But if everyone does it, they're I guess this is the way the future is, because nobody wants to fight it. Everybody just wants to play their games. Nobody wants to fight it, and then they realize they don't get to play their games either now. You know? And that's the question. Like, what if they're getting paid to? That's some tinfoil hat questioning right there. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be crazy. Think about that. We're gonna be on the weirdest side, like YouTube, one of these days. Like, let's be real. We're gonna be right there next to a lot of the weird, out of context Joe Rogan clips. Like, that's gonna happen, man.
But yeah, as for Apple Arcade though, there's nothing on there. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get an iPhone just for this. Like,
dude, most of the games that I ever looked at, that I even remember being on the Apple Arcade, they have released physical collections of on the Switch. a couple on the PS4 as well. Not many, but a couple. Which is those Kemco RPGs, which are all like, what do you call it? RPG makers. Basically, they're like very straightforward. They don't have very complex systems. If you're a huge fan of like the Super Nintendo era-ish storytelling and stuff, that's basically it. You know? Maybe we should probably do some streaming like that, and we should just voice the characters ourselves, because there's no voices. No, like, Kemco does not have that budget. We're gonna be that budget now. Be a fun idea. We should think about that.
Okay.
But yeah, mobile games probably gonna collapse. Who do you think is gonna survive?
And personally, I think at the very least, Azure Lane, if it wasn't for like the what is it, like the Karen culture, like hating on it, I think people would have been just like, oh well, here's a new waifu, big deal. Yeah. But because people are so angry about it, they're like, you know what, just to put a thumb in your eye, I'm gonna download it and play this more. Like, if they would have been like,
I am not gonna lie, I've done a couple of those boards because of that.
Yeah.
I have not downloaded it though, but looking at some of the characters and stuff, I actually saw some characters that I thought were cool looking, like actually genuinely neat looking.
Yeah.
Like, not just, big titties. I'm like, I should really check out what these characters actually do in the game so I can better understand it, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I played Toho, and I can't do that. I am not good with shmups, bro. I am not, no. Like, that is a bullet hell I will not be able to ever do. Like, but yeah, third level in, I'm like, nope, can't do this. This stuff hurts. Like,
yeah, I think the outrage marketing will drive it.
I think you're right. I think Azure Lane's going to probably be one of the ones that just like kind of barely make it, but it's not like they're going to come out battered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless they learn to transition to a different.
They're going to like look over and like, how did you survive? And Azure Lane's just going to like shrug. You know? Like,
so if they become like an anime, or if they get a full-on game,
they do have an anime, little miniature series of anime.
But they haven't gone whole hog yet. Like Fate, the Fate series, they have like, they branched out everywhere. So Fate, I think, will do really, really well.
Well, I think. Didn't Fate start off as like a manga or something like that first?
It was originally a PC game. It was basically a visual novel, and then it got an anime, and then because it was just grassroots stuff too, kind of like Toho, and then the artists licensed their stuff, and then it started like getting a shit ton of traction, and then the game came out, and they're like, oh, let's do what is it? They basically did waifu versions of historical characters, and it just snowballed from there.
Wow.
So. Even if you cut the mobile game, it's like we still got plenty of places to go.
And I think there's going to be some companies that are going to start doing that a lot more. We talked about Grand Blue Fantasy, talked about Azure Lane. I think one of the huge guys that are actually going to be like one of the titans that survives, like one of them that's just going to like shrug it off, is MiHoYo. Genshin Impact, Honkai Impact 3rd, and Honkai Star Rail.
Oh yeah.
they are probably gonna continue doing whatever the hell they're doing. They could easily, I could see them doing that subscription thing that you mentioned. That sounds like something Hoyoverse would do.
Okay.
Like that does sound so. But I can also see them, and this is probably going to be this is still going to be in the distance. I could see them wrapping up Genshin Impact, and when they're finally officially done, make an offline version where you just grind stuff every day. It has randomized nonsense stuff. You just download it, and it's just like a single-player adventure game.
Okay.
And I could see them pulling that off as their excuse to branch out. I don't see them going too far from there, but I do see another RPG that they could probably branch into from Genshin Impact, like a Genshin Impact 2, but not really a direct sequel, kind of like Final Fantasy has sequels, but they're not really direct sequels. I could see them doing something to that point, and I could see them, like, that's why I think why they made their games on the PlayStation 4 and 5 and trying to get it on the Switch, is because they're trying to get out of mobile as a franchise.
Yeah.
Well, and I think out of everyone, MiHoYo is probably successfully doing that.
Because I do remember the only reason why they put it on mobile was because they had such a huge market. I'm pretty sure they wanted to do PC, but when I play Genshin, it's like you can feel that they're like, oh, we really want to do this, but we're limited to the mobile market.
And honestly, I think because of that, made their like design decisions much smarter.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's gonna be like very well known characters and displays and stuff. I think Raid's gonna do that too, provided that Ukraine doesn't collapse by any means. So I think Raid will still stick around. We'll probably notice a couple others, but as far as like small companies that we keep going, who is that? Oh no, they're gonna be collapsing.
Yeah.
Like, they're not gonna survive. But yeah, the mobile market stagnation. People are getting tired of the live service bullcrap. It's probably getting to a point where we can talk about live service games in the future of that too, one of these days. And yeah, we can just sit here and enjoy the fact that mobile games are probably going to the wayside to a point where we might just have to just buy games on mobile again.
Good.
Right? So we'll see how it works. It might get a lot worse, but we'll see what goes on. But I want to thank you all for listening to everything. We're going to just go ahead and wrap that up here. If you like our content, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And as always,
we will see you on the other side.
Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.